Okay. Is this thing on? Check, 1, 2, check. Okay. No, I want to do some prayer though before we dive into testimony here. I want to pray for the folks in Texas because that's pretty horrific. So we'll pray for them. Also, George, I'd like to pray for Lisa Cooley. Actually, I think I saw something that she had posted. She had a stroke, and so we'll lift Lisa up. Heavenly Father, I lift Lisa up to you. I pray that minimal damage was done, Lord, and I just lift her up for a fast recovery. I lift up Philip's wife, Teresa, Lord, and I just put your hand on her, Lord, and I'm praying for a fast recovery for her as well. Father, I pray for Texas and the loss of life there and the grieving and the family members. Lord, just be with them, ease their hearts. Lord, and I pray if there's anyone missing that they be found, Lord, and that there's more inclement weather, Lord, and I just pray for safety going forward, Lord, and I just pray that you move on the hearts of the folks around there and give them faith, Father. I pray this in Jesus' mighty name. So tonight we have a testimony, Brother Emerson Bennett. It's going to be good. He heard a little bit about it. He was filling me in, and I know the Lord's moved mighty in his life, and so I'm happy he made it down here. So Emerson, come on.
Thank you, brother. So glad to be here tonight. Who's glad to be in the house of the Lord tonight? You know what better place can we be than right here? It's so great to be here. So thankful for the opportunity. That first song, My Rescue Story. What a powerful song that is. You know, Jesus rescued me. That's what he did. But like I said, I'm so glad to be here tonight. Thankful for the opportunity. About 2 months ago, I was just in a really low place in my walk with the Lord. And it felt like I just wasn't going anywhere. I feel like I wasn't doing nothing to help anybody or doing nothing for the Lord. And the Lord spoke to me and said, share your testimony. You can help somebody. You know, and then immediately I went on Facebook, made a Facebook post about, hey, anybody, any openings anywhere, rehab, jails, celebrate recoveries, I'm available. I just want to help somebody. And that's all I want to do. I'd like to just help somebody tonight. You know, I tell you, I was there one time, drugs and alcohol. But I'll just get right into it here. Born 1980, that tells how old I am. Born in 1980. And by the time I was 2 years old, my mom and dad were divorced. By the time I was 2, and it'd be another 10 years before I saw my real dad again. And so I really didn't know him growing up. And then by the time I was 3 years old, my mom had remarried. And I tell you, my childhood growing up, I had a good childhood. I had a roof over my head, food on the table, shoes on my feet. But I wasn't raised in church. Growing up, you know, my stepdad, they drank, and you know, a lot of times on up to 8, 9 years, 10 years old, you know, most of the weekends we spent at chicken fights. That's what we did. We raised game chickens, and we'd go all over Alabama, Georgia, Corsicana, Tennessee. And that's just the way I was brought up. That's the way I grew up, you know, and just grew up. I mean, like I say, I had a good childhood. We didn't have much money at all. Just getting by, really. We lived in a single wide trailer, no underpinning, none whatsoever. We had goats and, like I say, chickens and dogs and rabbits. And I mean, you imagine, you know, I remember one day looking out, my mom looked out the window, the goats had got out of the pen, and they was running and jumping up on the back of her car and sliding down her windshield and coming around and doing it again. Just do it. I mean, hey, I just grew up in this country, that's the way I grew up. Um, but just rocking on here, like you say, had, had a, had a good childhood, just grew up poor, that's just the way it was. But anyway, like I say, my real dad, I wouldn't see him again probably until, like I say, 11, 12 years old. And my real dad, he had been in a prison, drugs, alcohol. That's pretty much why my mom, they got divorced. My mom left. He beat her, and just all that comes with it. My aunt told me the story when my mom was pregnant with me. Her and my real dad lived below, and my mom one day she saw her come walking up the road and want to know what was wrong. My dad had just beat her, and she was getting out of there. So I'm thankful for stepdad that stepped in and raised me. And then when we got on up till, I remember 10, 11, 12 years old, going to church every now and then. We'd go to church on Sunday, and then we just lived like the devil the rest of the week. And then when I got on up, about 15 years old, I was like, I want to go to church. The church band would come by and pick me up. But to be honest with you, really then the only reason I'd go to church is because there was girls there. That's the only reason I wanted to go. And I don't know how many times, like we'd go to youth conferences and we'd go to youth services and in every one of them services, I'd be like, oh, I got saved, every one of them. But then I just get back up and keep doing what I was doing, just. Like I said, I was just there just to see the girls. But like I said, I wasn't raised in church. I didn't know a whole lot about it. I really didn't. My grandma, she went to church. Both my grandmas, they always went to church, Baptist churches. But when I got on up to about the age, when I got to age of 16, my mom and stepdad, they got a divorce. That 16-year-old, I just had turned 16. And to me, that was just a critical time for a young man in his life. He gets his license, it's like a rite of passage. You get your driver's license and you're ready to ride and drive and feel like you got a little freedom. But I'll never forget my stepdad coming home one day from work. I guess it was work, I don't remember, but just coming in and then just telling my mom, say, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm packing my stuff and I'm leaving. This is a man that he was my dad. He's my dad. He's the one that raised me. Even though you got his stepdad, but title, he raised me. He put a roof over my head, food on the table, shoes on my feet. And now here this man is gone walking out of my life. And he walked out that day, and it was bad. I mean, my mom didn't want him to leave. It just came out of nowhere. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget hearing my mom. Me and my brother, we was in another room. We could hear everything going on. And I'll never forget her just begging him not to leave. And I'm gonna tell you that right there, it does something to a young 6-year-old boy. That right there, that really hurt. Oh, it hurts so bad. To hear my mom say that the man that raised me is leaving. So he left, and I guess I don't know how many years went by. We really didn't see him anymore. So it was just my mom, me, and my younger brother. And my mom starts working she working long hours trying to provide for us. And me and my brother, a lot of times we're just at home by ourselves. But anyway, 16 years old, and then right after I got me a job, and I was like, I'm doing something. I got me a job, I got my license, even though my stepdad and mom are divorced. Seemed like things may be still going pretty good for me. But I get a job, and then it wasn't long. It wasn't long at this job that somebody was like, "Hey, you want to go hang out? You know, we're going to hang out this weekend. You want to go with us?" I was like, yeah, let's go hang out. You know, they was like, "Well, you know, I don't think you like you don't smoke weed or nothing, right? You don't." I was like, "Nah, I don't do none of that." There's like, "We're gonna be smoking the weed." You know, I go, I'll still go. You know, and backing up to growing up, I'd been around alcohol, drugs, had uncles. You know, it never crossed my mind, even younger, even doing any kind of drugs or anything. And being younger, being around it, I mean, many times I could have easily taken it up when I was younger. Even before the age of 16, I could have, but you know, it just never even they give a thought to it. But you know, right here, this I was 16, and it was just sort of I'd say a weak time for a young 16-year-old kid at this time. Like I said, my mom and stepdad, they were divorced. And so I did. I started hanging out, and in this school, I was shy. I was a shy kid. I'm gonna tell you by then. I'll tell you that there'd be about no way to get me up here talking. There'd be no way. I didn't even want the teacher to call on me in class. Like she asked a question and she'd be looking around the room for somebody, and she's like, you know, if nobody don't raise their hand, I'm gonna call somebody out. And I'd be ducking down the seat, trying to hide. It's like, don't call on me. That's how shy I was. But anyway, I started hanging out, and first thing hanging out, I get introduced to marijuana, and then I'm in the circle, and somebody hands it to me, and it's just like, take it, smoke it. Like, why? I don't. Still to this day, why not? I don't know. And it really wasn't nothing to me, It wasn't. I didn't smoke cigarettes. I didn't drink alcohol at this point. And but that, I guess right then, right that moment, I felt like, I belong. You know what I mean? Like these people are pretty cool. These people, they invited me to hang out with them. Me, the shy person that don't really have no friends, never really went and stayed the night anywhere with school friends. For a moment there, it's like, oh man, this is cool. I think, I might be getting some new friends. They like me. So go around the next week working. They say, hey, we're gonna hang out again. You want to go with us again? And I'm like, yeah, I'll go. It was fun. So then the next week rolls around and same thing. Alcohol, weed. That's all it was. That's all it was. Just alcohol and marijuana at the time. So I take and smoke it again, and this time I felt something off of it. You know what I mean? I mean, it just this time it was like, okay. And then after that, I was like, oh, I'm so cool. I'm hanging with these people. A lot of them's older than me. They really like me. You know what I mean? They let me hang out with them. They let me smoke their weed. Oh man, they're cool people. So this rocked off for a couple of months, and then I'm smoking weed a lot, drinking now, alcohol. Everything that goes with it. Everything that goes with that. But I said, I'll smoke some weed. It's okay. I'll do this. I said, I won't do none of that hard stuff. I'll never do that. Anybody ever said that? I said, I'll never. Cocaine and back. I hope that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Back when I was coming, I'm talking about in the '90s, it really wasn't. Methamphetamine wasn't called ice; it was called the crank. It was totally different. But anyway, I was like, I'll never do that stuff. Won't do it. Nope, won't do it. I tell you, within 6 months of me smoking weed, within 6 months I was starting cocaine. Within 6 months. Here I'm a 6-year-old kid. Another divorce home split up, me and my mom and brother. Get introduced to marijuana from a job I got. Just hanging out with people. Within about 6 months, I'm starting cocaine. I'll never forget either. That first cocaine, I didn't have to buy any of it. That first bit of weed, I didn't have to buy any of it. It was just gifted to me. Say, hey, you want to do this? I mean, it was like that. You didn't have to buy it all. And I'll never forget sitting down at my kitchen table. I'm guessing my mom's at work. I've got these people over, and they pull out a bag of cocaine. It's like, here, we're gonna do this. And I'm like, no, hey, I don't do that. I'm like, no, you'll love to do this. It's that next level, you know what I mean? And I'm like, is this gonna kill me? Like, that's what, like, if I do this, I'm gonna die. Like I've heard bad stuff about this. I'm so naive. I don't know nothing about it. They're like, oh man, they ain't gonna kill you. No, this man, you'll just like it. Like, yeah, you'll like it. You'll like it. So at my kitchen table, I was storing my first line of cocaine. And then that was a totally different experience. That was a totally different high. And then within, a couple more months, I was doing methamphetamine, just by the time I was 17, really, I was doing it. But backing up a little bit. But before I turned 16, I met another guy. He was 15. He was riding with me. By this time, I'm buying old weed. And we're riding around, and I don't have a light in my truck. I was like, we need a light. We can't see to roll a joint. We can't see. So we was like, hey, there's a church. Let's pull in that church parking lot. It's got a street light. We pulled under that street light, spotlight right on us. And what was we thinking? So we pull up that spot. It's like, 10 o'clock at night. And we pull up to that street light. And this is a little country church too, just out in the country. We pull up, we doing our thing, smoke's boiling out, and the guy that's in the seat beside me, he turns and looks, he's like, oh man, cops. And we start throwing stuff like under the seat, like what was that gonna do? You know what I mean? We just got all red. He come pulling up on us and roll down the window, and he's like, what y'all doing? So, oh, we ain't doing nothing. We ain't doing nothing. What you mean, what we doing? He's like, I'm 16, this guy's 15, and and the cop's like, don't you lie to me. He said, I smell it. Anyway, we put on that street light, and the little old lady across the road called, said somebody's over at the church. Cops gonna pull up. So I'm 16 years old now. They introduced to marijuana. 6 months later, introduced to cocaine, methamphetamine, and just right before I turned 17, here I am locked up, sitting in jail. All within not even a year. Not even a year. I'm sitting in jail for possession of marijuana. And really back then, there wasn't a whole lot to it to give you a fine and some probation. That was about it. It's like one of this. I mean, it never really slowed me down. Never slowed me down. So I go to school the next week, and the principal catches me outside, and maybe he called me out of the classroom. I can't remember. But I remember standing outside. He's like, hey, I heard what happened. Small town, everybody knows, what happens in small towns. Anyway, he's like, I heard you got locked up. And he's like, I can kick you out of school. I can kick you out of school if I wanted to. He said, but I ain't going to. He said, I'm not going to do it. And he was trying to reach out to me. He was trying to say, hey, you can kick this. You can do better. He was trying to give me a second chance. And it rocked on, and I didn't. I just kept right on doing what I was doing. Probation, I don't even remember if I even ever had to, take a drug test. I don't remember ever slowing me down. So by the time I'm 17, I'm telling you, 17 years old, I'm full-fledged drug addict. Really didn't drink a whole lot, but just any drugs you brought by. I mean, I was there, and I was partying, and still at this time, I thought I was cool. Well, I'm doing my own thing, doing whatever I want to do. Nobody's telling me what to do. Even my mom, she's not telling me what to do. I tell you, I'd leave. I'd go to school all week. Friday, get out of school, and I wouldn't go home. Back in the '90s, middle '90s, late '90s, there wasn't no cell phones. Somebody might even have a pager. Y'all remember that? Anybody remember a pager? Yeah, I got some people there in my age. But there was no cell phones. I would leave school Friday afternoon, and it was always, where's the party at? Where's the party at? Where we partying tonight? Saturday night? Where's it gonna be? That's where I would be. And my mom didn't know where I was at. Had no clue. Every weekend she wouldn't know where I was at. My mom would call. She would call sheriff's offices, see if I've been locked up. She would call the hospitals to see if I've been in a wreck or overdosed or whatever. She would call family members to see if anybody had seen me, but nobody had seen me. And I would come in all weekend, and I would come in late Sunday night. Just my brain just scattered from all the drug use over the weekend. I would come dragging in and just crash and get ready and do it all over again next week. Get ready for school. I'm still going to school every Monday I'm there. So it rocked on for, I don't know, a couple more months. And then the assistant principal, she called me in her office one day. She called me in there. And as soon as I walked in, I'll never forget it. As soon as I walked in, and two, I'll be saying it's about 16. I was about as big as I am now, about 250 pounds. And by this time, from my start of my drug use to this point, I'm 17 and a half. I probably weigh 190 pounds. That's how dramatically I lost weight. First thing she said when I walked in, she said, "Son," she said, "you look rough." That's what she told me. I'll never forget it. She said, "You look rough." She said, "What is going on?" You know, they had seen my rapid weight loss. They know I've been locked up. She knew what was going on. She knew. And you know what she was trying to do? She was trying to reach out to me. She was trying to reach out to me to say, "You don't need to go down this road. You went far enough. You need to give this up. You don't need to go no more, further than this." Just what she said, "You look rough." She said, "Look awful." But she was just trying to reach out to me. She was just trying to help me. But I wouldn't listen. I wouldn't listen to it. And she said, you need to get yourself together." That's what she said. But I wouldn't listen. Right on my senior year of high school, just all the drug. Everybody knows who's on drugs in school, who's not, and just the people you hang out with. And my senior year of high school, in the first period, I missed 50-something days that class. Because we meet up before school, we go get high, and then most of the time, I was like, "Well, I'm not going to school now. I smell like a marijuana factory. My eyes are bloodshot. I'm not going. I can't walk into school." So that rocked on. And then my second period class, I missed like 40-something days in there, 40-something days in that class. And this rocked on the whole year. And it came up time short about a couple months before the end of the year. I think my mom gets a letter in the mail that says, "Your son's not passing his senior high school because he's missed too many days." Boy, you talking about mama is mad. I couldn't graduate. I missed too many days. I'm failing everything because of my drug use, because of my own hands, my own things that I'm doing. And still at this point, I don't realize, I'm having fun. I'm still having fun. I'm cool. I got locked up. I got that checked off. I'm cooler than some of the rest of these people in high school. It's like, "You ever been locked up?" "No, I have. I've been in jail." That's not a cool, but when you're a kid, you just don't get it. You just don't understand. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, I wish my testimony, I really do. I wish my testimony was I was raised in church. I wish that I was cut my teeth on the pews, or, like they say. I wish that was my testimony, but it's not. But I just want to share what I've been through, But moving on, I failed my senior year of high school. So I came back the next year trying to do it over. And I really don't know many people because, I was in the 12, other people landed and below me. And I just felt so out of place. So I had to go back to school, and I didn't know really many people. Not a whole lot. I know some, but not a whole lot. I just felt so out of place. Most of my friends had graduated, went on, and So I was like, I guess I'm just going to drop out. This ain't working, you know. But then I think one of the teachers or the principal is saying, hey, they got a new program going. It's called night school. I think we got a night school program in Jefferson, Georgia. It's like you can go to that. It's people like in your situation, they're behind on their classes and stuff like that. I was like, well, that'd be good. Maybe it's a fresh start. Maybe that'll get me off this road I'm on. So I started going there. And I tell you, it don't take long to figure out who does drugs and who don't in a new place. It don't take long. We're still doing it. The old saying, birds of a feather flock together. You ever heard that? So that's where I was at. I went to there and I had made new friends, new people to hang out with, new people to do drugs with. That's where I found myself. Like just doing the same old thing. This rocked on, and then like relationships with girls, and just the drama that comes with that, fussing, fighting, and drug use, and partying, and trying to go to school, and it was just terrible. But somehow I ended up finishing it and actually got a high school diploma. I mean, praise God, I was so proud of that. My mom was proud. I remember I still got a picture of a bunch of family and friends came and took pictures and seen me graduate. And like I said, I graduated right at 17 years old, and then the friends I used to hang out with, Sunday mornings, we used to hang out Sunday mornings. We'd go, and that's what I'd hang out. We'd go get drugs on Sunday mornings. The thought was we can blend in. People are going to church, and we're just blending right in. We're gonna make our drug run and come back. That's how crazy my mind was. Just crazy. But this is where I've got to. No regard for anybody, nothing. At this point, I'm stealing from my mom. She leaves her pocketbook open. I'm getting $20 out, 40, whatever that. I have no regard. I have no. By this time, anything goes. Anything goes. And that's where this gets to. That's where we get to. You really don't care about nobody or yourself. In the instance where I got to. So rocking on by the age of 19, I'm still just full blown in my drug abuse. And at the age of 19, I was dating a girl, and her sister lived up in Ackworth, Georgia. And so I told my mom, I was like, hey, we're going up there the weekend. It's a Memorial Day weekend. And she's like, we're going up there, hang out. The last night she told me when I was walking out the door, she said, you better not get up there and get locked up. I said, you better not. It's right on all weekend. It was Sunday, time to come home. And so I'm leaving the place there. And it's Memorial Day weekend. Cops out everywhere. And guess what? I got one headlight. I didn't even make it out of town. I pulled over. He's like, yeah, the reason I pulled you over, you got a headlight out. I said, yeah, we can fix that. He's all right, well, I'm gonna give you a ticket for that. You got a headlight out. So he goes back and Rice and comes back. And man, I'm so nervous. I'm shaking like a leaf. Of course, this cop's done picked up on that. He knows I'm shaking like a leaf. So he hands me the pen to sign a ticket, and he's like, why are you so nervous? I said, me? I ain't nervous. What are you talking about? I ain't nervous. He's like, yeah, you a little bit nervous. I mean, I couldn't even hardly write, sign the ticket. No, I ain't nervous. I'm just trying to get home. He's like, all right, something's going on, man. He's like, go ahead and step out. Now, we've been there. We've heard it. Go ahead and step out. So I step out. He's like, I'm going to go ahead and just handcuff you just for my safety and everybody's safety. So he handcuffs me, and I'm sitting on the sidewalk. He's like, sitting on the sidewalk. So anyway, I had some weed on me, long story short, in my suitcase. I was like, I'll put it in my suitcase if I get pulled over. They ain't going to find that. Oh, how they rip your car apart. They find whatever you got. Found that. So here I am, locked up again at the age of 19. Now, just for marijuana just for marijuana. That's it. Just that. Anyway. That low level stuff. But anyway. Just marijuana. So anyway, I make a phone call. I think I call my mom. Nobody answered. And and legitimately, like what I asked the jailer, I was like, what do I do now? I was like, what I was asking was, do I need to call somebody again right now, or do I get another phone call later? What I was asking, but he looks at me and laughs. He said, huh? He said, son, you going to jail? That's what you're doing now. I'm like, good grief, man. So he went there and threw me in the jail cell. And there I am sitting there. I think it's somewhere in like the next morning. Like this is already late at night. Somewhere the next morning, uh, I get another phone call. I call my mom and she answers. And the recording says, call from a jail. So anyway, she's like, I told you not to get locked up. I said, it's cool, mom. This ain't no big deal. I just got locked. That's cool. But I was trying anything. I was like, just come get me out. Just come get me out. So she came to get me out to our drive. It was a long ride home. She had to come get me out. But just sort of speeding up here. I'm locked up the second time. And then this is rock on. Now I can't get no job, a decent job, can't pass the drug test. This rock's on. I'm 19. This rock's on until like until I'm 22 years old. And now I'm staying out all night. I don't have no car tag, no insurance. I'm driving everywhere. I do still got a license, but no insurance, no tag. My car is basically I quit paying on it. They're just gonna come get it anytime. But I'm riding around. So anyway, she comes home one afternoon about 4 o'clock. I'm still in bed. I'm still living at home with her, not paying nothing, doing my thing. She flips on the light in my bedroom. And the first thing I want to do is get mad. I said, oh, you put the light on. I'm trying to sleep. I'm in her house. I'm not paying nothing. I want to get mad. So anyway, she's like, you got two choices. She said, you pack everything you own, you pack it all and leave. Or I got this number you can call. It's just mail. And like I say, I'm still a little mad. And I half asleep. My brain's scattered. So I get calmed down, and just something hit me. It's like, I do need some help. I do need to do something. This ain't going nowhere. So I called that number as a drug rehab called Faith Homes in Greenwood, South Carolina. Anybody's ever heard of it? But I remember I went there. She took me there, and I walked in there, and there's people there that showed me where I would be going sleeping. And I remember I watched her. I was sitting on that front porch. So I watched her drive away, and all of a sudden, tears just started streaming. All these hurts and angers and things started come home. Here I am, a statistic. I'm in a drug rehab. My whole family's give up on me. Nobody's thinking I'm not going to amount to anything. I've been locked up twice. There's no hope for me. To society, there was no hope. None. And I'm just starting to cry, just tears. And so I walk in the place, it's like, come on, we're going to say where you're sleeping. And it just a minute goes by, and now I'm squalling. Uncontrollably. I'm squalling. 22-year-old young guy squalling, and all these men are just looking at me. Like I'm crying, they're just looking at me. Like something's going on. What's wrong with you, man? They're like, come on. We'll show you your room. So they take me to my room where I'm sleeping for the next 2 months, and I'm trying to put my clothes away, and I'm just crying like a baby, still. And I can't get a word up. I can't say nothing. They're like, what's wrong with you, man? What the world's going on? I'm freaking them out. I'm sitting crying like a baby, and I'm not saying nothing. And they're like, we need to get you somewhere. Like just like you ain't stopping crying. So you need to go see the preacher. It was a Christian minister over rehab. And I think I nodded my head, and they took me up there to the preacher, and he talked to me, and he's like, son, I think God do. I really do, And he's like, you ever been saved? And I was like, I thought I was, but obviously my life says otherwise. And he's like, I can save you right here. God can save you right here. This little bitty office room, small. You barely could fit a desk and 2 chairs right there. And I knelt down right there and gave my heart to Christ. Gave my heart to Jesus right there. Asking God forgive me. Come into my heart. Boy, I was just on cloud nine, and I was just so happy. I got saved. God saved me right there in a drug rehab where nobody said I was about anything. God chased me to that point right there. God saved me right there in a drug rehab. Whoever would have thought that? Like, I'm going here to try to get help. I'm not going to try to get saved. It never crossed my mind. It's like, I was just going to go meet Jesus here. That's where, with my lowest of lows. When society said I'm outcast, I'm just a statistic. When my family had given up on me, everybody on my mom, Jesus said, you are saved. Society, people say they have no use for you. You've hurt so many people, you burn bridges. But Jesus said, I'm here to save you. He said, I'll take you. He said, you're worth saving. You know, you're worth saving tonight. Anybody in here, it don't matter your past, it don't matter what you've done to people, other people we may have hurt. They may not can never forgive us. I don't know. But I know one man who can, is Jesus Christ. He can come in our heart. He can forgive us for anything we've done. It don't matter what. We just got to surrender to him. And, that's what it took for me. That's what it took for me to surrender my life to Jesus, to give him everything I got. I've tried the world. I've tried everything in it. And now Jesus said, try me. Try me. You tried everything else. I couldn't lay down the drugs. I couldn't lay it down. And anyway, I was on cloud nine. I was so happy. But anyway, I got out, trying to hurry. No time's running short. I got out, I was just like, oh man, I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world. So happy. My mind's getting clear. I got my head on straight. So I'm going to get me a job. I'm just to prove some people wrong. I'm going to get me a job, and I'm going to just do right. And I'm going to show some people like, what I've done, to change my life. So I go get me a job. I was like, I'm going anywhere. I'm going to the grocery store, the hardware store, whoever says they need help first, that's where I'm working, So I'm going around, I end up at a golf course, and I walk in, there's 3 people in there, and I say, hey, I'm looking for a job. I just need a job. You don't need any help. And the 2 guys that run the front, where they give you the golf carts and stuff, they're like, no, I don't reckon we need no help. No. There's a guy behind him. He was like, yeah, hey, I'll probably get. I was about to walk out. He's like, I probably can use you. Yeah. I was like, okay. Well, doing what? He's like, follow me. He's like, I need some help cutting the grass and stuff like that. So he's like, follow me. I follow him around, and I followed him to the back of the golf course where the maintenance shop is, and he's like, yeah, we can use it. So the first thing they do, like new hires, first thing they do is put a weed eater in your hand. So yeah, we got a lot of weed eating. I'll weed eating 8 hours a day, 5 days that first week. That's all I did. Weed eating and edge cart pack. My goodness, I'm glad I was young. I don't know if I can do this. My goodness. It's like, yeah, well, we want to see if you're going to make it or not. That's the way we do people. Like, we put a weed eater in your hand the first thing you do. And, and I made it. I got through that. And I'll tell you, it wasn't long. Just give me just a few more minutes. It wasn't long. It wasn't long while working there. I figured out about everybody there that does drugs. It don't take long. It don't take long to figure that out. It don't take long. And I resisted it for a while. And then I said, you know what? I'll just go hang out with them. I may just drink a little bit. I don't want to do nothing else. I just drank, and they hang out with some women, and I'll just go hang out. So I did. That's what I did. I was like, here comes the devil right back. I said I did. I started drinking some again. No doubt, God doesn't save me. I'm saved. But then here comes the devil again. And I started drinking a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, that's all right. But then when I started drinking, I want to smoke weed. So I fell right back into it. Within just a few months. Here I am partying and drinking again. And this went on for like 2 more years. Finally, one day, by this time, like, I'm miserable. These 2 years, I'm miserable. I hate myself. Absolutely hate myself. And hate everybody else. Like, I've never felt so much rage and hate in my life to this point. Anybody come up, just like, man, what are you doing? I've been ready to turn the head off. Like, what you say to me? Man, I'll beat you to a pulp. And they're just like, just going, hey, how's it going? And I'm ready to fight. That's how miserable I was after this point. God has saved me. Here I was a failure again. Letting everybody down again. Relapse for 2 more years. Until the final one day came, I just had a meltdown. Right there in the golf course, the maintenance office. We have golf balls. We go get golf balls. We hit golf balls. We go find them. There's golf balls everywhere. We just go find them like for free. So anyway, everybody had like a little stash of golf balls in their little lockers they had that worked there. And some of my golf balls I thought were somebody stole my golf balls. I can go get any amount of golf balls at home. Like, it didn't even matter. Like, I just go get more, you know what I mean? And I was like, somebody stole my golf balls. I went through the whole place. My son, I'm cussing everybody out. I'm like, I'll beat the mess out of anybody who got my golf ball. And come find, didn't nobody get my golf. Didn't nobody get my golf balls. I had done hit them before, and I forgot. I hadn't been hit by my. So by this time, I just break down. This is my breaking point right here. I've had enough. I just break down and I start crying again. Here I am, crying again. 2 years later, I'm crying again. In front of grown men, again. And I'm sitting in this maintenance office, and I'm up against the wall, and I just slide down the wall and just sit on the floor, and I'm just crying. And one of the bosses come in, I was like, man, I can't do this no more. I'm miserable. I can't quit smoking weed. Yeah, weed. I couldn't lay it down. Y'all might can't, I couldn't. Spiritual bond just had me. The spiritual bond just had me bound and in chains. And I told him, I said, I need a week off. I need to take a week off. And he's like, all right, I took a week off. I never went back. I said, I can't go back into that. I had an uncle who I knew he always went to church. I had an uncle. He always went to church. I was like, I need to call him because I got to get to church. It's the only way I'm going to make it. God saved me. I got to get to church. And this time I didn't go to church. I got saved. I didn't give me a home church. So I called him up. He's like, yeah, I'm going to, it's called Christ Chapel Church of God in Livonia, Georgia. He's like, that's where I'm going. So I started going there. And really just rededicated my life and started living for the Lord. And, you always used to pray too. I used to pray, God, send me a godly woman. I want a godly woman. A woman that prays to you and seeks after you. That's what I want, And that's where I met my wife. Just a while later, I met my wife there. And anyway, we dated. I proposed. We got married there. Now we got three beautiful little girls. 3 beautiful little girls. And I'm going to tell you what, it's been the best since I really said, you know what, I've got to get in church. I think that's what it was going to take for us. Really surrender our life to God and get into a good church. That's where we find our strength, in unity. People come together and lift each other up, And why some of y'all in the drug rehab, that bond, that unity, I'll never forget some of the people I was in drug rehab with. Some of them I wonder about today, wonder what happened to them. Did they stay clean? Stuff I always wondered. But just the bond sometimes you form in the drug rehabs, and the unity that you can encourage one another, lift each other up, to go on and make it. You can do that. I want to be a leader, don't you? I want to be a leader. I want to be somebody that say, hey, I made it through the blood of Jesus Christ. I made it. He come and saved me. He gave me, even I relapsed. He gave me a second chance. He was there. He was there, Chris. He was there waiting on me again when I got ready. He was there waiting on me again. He's like, I'll clean you up again. I'll do it again. Yeah. That's the thing about it. No matter how many times we fall, we got to get back up. And Jesus is waiting right there again. So I'm here to say, in the Bible, Peter walked on water. He said, can I come out to you? He's talking to Jesus. Jesus was walking. He's like, yeah, come on. Peter started walking on the water toward Jesus. And Peter got his eyes on the storm, started sinking. And he cried out, Jesus saved me. Peter was going under. He said, Jesus saved me. Jesus reached down. Jesus saved me. No doubt. No doubt. He can save you again and again. He can get you out of your troubles. If we fall, we just got to get back up. Dust ourselves off and say, Jesus, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And he's always right there. We walk away from him. He don't walk away from us. But anyway, I went over a little bit of time. I apologize. But I just want to encourage us tonight. I just want to encourage us. God's got you right where he wants you. You may feel like there's no hope for you. You may feel like your family, your wife, girlfriend, your kids, they're not going to have anything else to do with you. But I'm telling you what, you surrender to Jesus, he'll turn it all around for you. He turned it all around for me. And I just want to help you. I just want to encourage you. I just want to encourage you. Just live for Jesus. You can be a help to so many people. Y'all can be a help to people that you come in contact with, people, friends, whoever. You can be a help to them. He's like, hey, If he can make it, if she can make it, I can make it too. I've been clean now, so 20 years. 20 years. 20 years. And by God, by Jesus, that's the way I say. And I used to think, what would it feel like for me to be 1 month sober? What's that? Clean? What's it gonna feel like for me to 2 days? The devil used to torment me with that. It's like you'll never know what it'll feel like to be sober 1 month. You ain't never gonna get that. And I used to think, well, in my drug use, I would say, what? And here I am 20 years later, clean, set free. I want to encourage you tonight. You can make it. You can. Through the help of Jesus, you can make it. You can. When we fall, we will rise again. Don't stay there. Let's get up and go on and help somebody else. Thank y'all for letting me share tonight.
Thank you, brother. That was awesome. So we'll just be going to break. We'll do the I assume the 12 steps back over there. What happened? Chips, right? Chips. Sorry, forgot.